And welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Pro League. It is almost time for our first map of the evening here. It's going to be a little bit longer than usual, waiting to jump into it here as the teams are taking a little bit longer than usual in order to get themselves ready, but we should be hopping into it pretty soon. It's going to be Optic taking on the Misfits, and we'll be starting off on Train, I believe, is our first map. So let's open up some discussion about just a general topic here. How do we think both these teams are going to fare now jumping in?
Was it Optic Misfits?
What's up?
Optic Misfits?
Yeah, that's why I said it, didn't I?
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry, got confused.
I just said it in the reverse order.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Okay, all right.
So Optic Misfits, jumping on a train here now. How do we think that these two teams are going to fare off?
There's definitely a lot to unpack. Optics, we saw the other day, it was Misfits had a lot of struggles on their CT side, and actually didn't get a chance to play their CT side because their T side was so bad they got so few rounds, whereas Optic had Misfits Immortals. That's what it was.
That's what we said.
I was so confused.
Wow.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was like, is this second match of the day or something? Okay, so Misfits Immortals. This is...
I think I confused Optic for Immortals. That was probably
my bad. Joke about Immortals being late for a match. I don't know who.
Yeah, I mean, topical, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think one thing is interesting. There's obviously a lot of talk about roster changes right now. And for us, you know, we can only know so much. It's mostly going to be speculation and rumors and Brazilian sources and all this stuff. What's going to happen? We kind of know that there's probably going to be a roster change. And like 4 of the top Brazilian teams are going to be shuffling around. You could expect that to happen maybe. But I think what's curious is that there's a lot of room on Immortals right now where they're probably not sure if they're going to keep Zach or if Zach's going to like start for the team since, you know, they've got Horvey in. They picked up Ezekiel K playing.
I don't think he's playing tonight because I'm pretty sure he's in Brazil at the moment. I was always confused as to whether he actually ended up, you know, getting a visa through Ghost to be able to come over here, or whether he had to stay in Brazil during that time.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he's in Brazil, so I think it's taken some time to get him over to the States. But I could be wrong about that.
But I think there's some flex room there where they're you know, they're playing with Destiny. Destiny's good. Don't get me wrong, but like, is there going to be any kind of shuffle? Or people are talking about SK right now, and the fact that there's a rumor that FNX might be going back to SK in place of Phelps, which I honestly don't even think that's going to be that big of an upgrade, to be honest. Even if that, first of all, I don't think that would happen.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think that would happen either, and I also don't think it would be that much of an upgrade. If you look at Phelps, he's not really bad on the team at all. Plays his role quite well, and puts up numbers like him and Fur, sick combo. They do great work together. So, you know, you could put Phelps on the team. I don't think it would solve all their problems. Honestly, there is like Taco's, you know, like a 70 ADR player like across all their matches, and this is a team that wins most of their games. So that's like a particularly poor stat. There are also the things that the trouble with that though is that we never know how valuable a player is to a team because of the things that we can't talk about that only their teammates would know about. For example, do we know that Taco has great ideas? Or do we know if Taco has great ideas? Players with great ideas are invaluable, and only other players really know if it is the case that like this teammate has great ideas. You know, like I got asked when I played main one season, I was at an after party at like DreamHack Austin, and like 2 players in Premier that we played in our main playoffs asked me, well, who's your favorite teammate? And I had 2 players, and I said, you know, one guy who had 75 ADR versus one guy who had 85 ADR, and I told him to pick up the guy who had 75 ADR because he was a way better teammate. Like, that actually mattered so much to me. You spend all day with these guys. You practice with them. In SK's situation, you live with them. So there's more to it than simply, you know, how much damage do they do every round. And I think if there was a conversation about who's not pulling their weight, I think Taco would be at the forefront of the conversation, but we don't know as much about what he brings to the table that we can't see from the outside.
Yeah, and there's other things in game too, like communication and whatnot, which we're never really going to know about how well they are able to contribute to that, whether they're, you know, missing calls or doing the calling that other teammates may not be doing. It's able to kind of help them out and contribute to that a little bit more. But to flip the narrative a little bit here and talk more about Misfits, as you can see, guys, it is almost match check here as we do have the players joining up. Misfits, the big question for me is going to be, you know, do we see Shazam showing up to the table? Because he does great on Saturday during that online tournament that happened then, but then on Sunday seems to drop the ball completely, and we haven't seen him recover from it since then. Shazam always just kind of a roll of the dice, whether he's going to show up to the table or not as the online opera.
I'd say this is a pretty good map for him in general, but again, like a lot of times we see him shine is on the CG side where he does a great job of staying mobile, staying unpredictable, and I hope to definitely see that Shazam today. I honestly don't see him as like horribly inconsistent, but I didn't watch those online matches. Maybe it was pretty black and white, but did they play Train, any chance?
I don't remember the maps, unfortunately.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, we know that he's good on the map, at the very least. We know that Misfits have, I think, a deeper playbook on T side, which is something that we'll look for on Optic to exhaust their strategies quite early, though maybe they worked on it since the last time they played, and we're going to see a lot of development with Optic to the point that making too many strong assumptions about how they're going to be on a map should be taken with a grain of salt. Because, for example, we saw Inferno, where Freiburg, we're drawing the storyline about how Freiburg is the king of banana, but he's not playing banana. And then suddenly in that match, just switched back to B after playing 4 matches at A. So a lot of things will change, and because their train wasn't that good, especially on their T side towards the end of it, I would expect them to have some moves, either spot changes or have more strategies on T side, not rely so much on their executes, or have just different defaults.
In a way, this whole season for a lot of teams, obviously not every team, but for a lot of like the big name teams here, it kind of seems like an experimentation season almost, as obviously we have Optic trying to play with this top tier European roster and see if they can make it work in NA. You know, we have like Cloud9 trying out the new roster as well, just seeing if they can pack 5 superstars together and make that work out. Other things as well here, but anyway, it is going live with it. But it's just interesting to note that we have a lot of teams trying new things. Immortals obviously having to try out a completely new roster, not necessarily because they wanted to, but kind of by circumstance. So it turns out to actually make the season pretty interesting overall, as we have a lot of very diverse teams with a lot of new strategies to bring to the table and new rosters as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it looks like we are getting into it, folks. Misfits, they're going to be starting off on the T side here. Immortals, not Optic, as we excuse ourselves for that little bit of an error there. They're going to be starting off on the CT side. Horvey first up to bat more than likely here, as he's going to be faced off against 3 players coming down Ivy, and they're all coming quickly too, but he's going to be able to snag one right out of the air, taking down Shazam. More on the way back in. Bolt's now helping out as he takes down the second guy. In the meantime, though, More were able to pinch out from T-Con and Ladder as Sean Garris gets the first kill there on the other side of the site. That is putting Immortals into a bit of a bad spot here, but Bolts holds on, takes out one of the 2 T-Con players. That's going to be Amanek being eliminated, and now Sean will attempt to creep forward. If he keeps going onto that top left side there, you can see Bolts at 4 HP. One bullet will finish him off, and it would have been a relatively safe peek, but he didn't know he was back there. So Sean's now dead, and right after that, Zach rolls in for the closing kill against Sick, and that will secure it for the Immortals as they take the pistol.
Ivy control shut down quite quickly. Obviously, Horvey with a really nice peek, able to find that first USB headshot, and then everybody from Misfits falling apart. When you do a fast strat like that, you really expect to be able to get that first kill quickly, and that's why we saw just that group up and run all the way through. There's no, you can contact explode, but contacting up Ivy is very dangerous because the CT could peek at any moment for just a small bit of information, as we saw Horvey do at a slightly more off angle. But now we move into the second round. We've got Misfits firing up a scout on Sean Gare's armor on everybody else and are looking to do damage. He's also made some noise here at Ivy. He's actually rocked his way back to T-Con and is joining up with a couple of teammates who might have heard that T-Con control has been imposed on by the CTs.
Still going to have to look for a way to get out here and in through T-Con, more specifically Destiny. Pushing back in, is able to knock out Shazam there, so they snag an early kill relatively for free. The damage does not really equate in trade. No one else from the Immortals even goes close to going down here. He's now trying to creep through the back White Hulls, but Zach also holds an aggressive position coming all the way up the ramp near Ladder here too. A bit of a long-range duel, so Zach will be cautious to continue taking that. He'll now fall back into the site just for the sake of safety here, since what we're seeing now is going to be quite a few players from the Misfits working their way through those White Hulls, and Zach would not be able to hold against that many players. But it actually looks like, as I misread the map there a little bit, more of these players are going to be coming out through T-Con actually, as now the bomb gets dropped for the first time. Sick does respond, but then Bolts picks up not 1 but 2 more kills here. Amanek will be able to get 1 working his way down Ladder, but that'll end it after that. Immortals now 2-0.
Pretty simple stuff, just playing passive, holding their ground. As T-Con control got taken, the T see that as an opportunity to find a couple of kills. So in the C, they hear 2 sets of footsteps, a flash, and a Molotov come into team main. They think, oh, here's an opportunity to get some kills on CTs that are close to us. So that's why they initially thought to re-aggress on it. Immortals got a little bit more frisky, however, peeked out and opened up with the first kill. So now, round 3, pistols out. Just 2 flashes for Sean Kerr. He's going to release his first one to make sure that anybody on the ramp is going to be blinded and flashed off. Zach will also be denied any auditory information, so they can't be certain that any Ts have crossed. That flash is definitely worth its weight in gold. Now, Misfits are going to be walking. It's actually just Amanek. Everybody else is walking back to inner, and they've got another flash for either the ramp or upper.
It's the shock value execute here, more than likely to try and get another plant. so they can have a little bit of extra money going into that first gun round now. Zach will just timing spam into the smoke now, seeing if he can find anyone out from that T side. Won't be too successful. But Bolts, however, if he doesn't get timing himself here, he's going to be, wow, it's actually a perfect flashbang. They end up walking right out into a massive amount of players here from the Immortals that were just ready to take that fight. Bolts and Zach tearing the entire hit to shreds. I don't even think Misfits used their flash. Sick, however, somehow gets both of these kills in the site, but he won't find the plant as Steel does take him down.
You know, what's really interesting is just like the terrorists have that feeling of, this is when we should hit the site. The CTs have that same feeling of, this is when I would hit the site, right? So you see great timing like that, but it's also not a coincidence when great players throw great nades consistently. And there's Bolts finding the exact window to throw his flash in response to what would have been a hit. And honestly, he could have released that a little bit too late, and those guys could have all been pouring down out of heaven, and he wouldn't have been able to stop them. So slightly fortunate, but also, in general, pick that window of timing because he's an experienced, intelligent player.
And so now, Misfits will get onto their first go down. You'll note, though, it's not entirely perfect. A very light utility for the majority of AK investments, and a Galil for Sean, so they can upgrade into that little bit of additional utility, more specifically trying to get a Molotov on the board. Now, Zach still playing around with ramp here. He's going to have to be very careful, as, yeah, that'll happen if he tries to tweak it directly again. He will be brought down to 45 HP, and it looks like he's going to head over towards Spindles right now and have his teammate rotate back in. Bolts will play within the site, too. And it's actually the first time in a while we've seen Immortals go for this kind of a setup. Very, very deep control for the CTs right now, primarily because they're not going to have someone with an op to hold back towards Z. But regardless, now we can have Zach in the forward position, ready to fight these players back off. He will do damage to, I believe, Sean there, but Amanek moves in to take him down afterwards. Steel trading up 2 kills, but he'll be a quick trade as well there. It's Bolts that's going to be the real problem, though, as he takes down 2 more. Devil moves in, picks up that kill as he starts off the 1v3 here. He's going to find 2 more. He'll be close at taking down Destiny, but he'll come out on top, and that will give it to the Immortals as they keep control going past the first gun round.
It's a very dangerous game to play to have someone peeking that lower ramp. You almost always see that person either take damage or sometimes even die to a really solid op peek. For example, we saw there Shazam was just holding Zach while Zach was actually shoulder peeking. And so there was opportunities there for an op if he waited long enough to get 1 bullet off. Fortunately for Immortals, it didn't happen. But when Zach regressed upper, he ended up losing a duel very quickly. And that's probably because he only had 45 health to work with. So it makes you wonder if that's actually the best thing that you could possibly do. Now, another eco strat is Ivy is smoked for players who are going to run up, but it was kind of a loose throw, and we'll have a gap in it.
Moving in here, Horvey is already going to be able to knock out the second player. More of them trying to route through the back halls, but they have Steel in position right outside of CT to already catch some of that. Sean will catch a trade closer towards the halls there, and actually a little bit more of a contest as Sick picks up 1, too. Ultimately, though, Horvey will take him down, so Sean just races over here to the B site to look for a quick plant. He'll get it, actually, as Immortals are a little bit timid on going back in, but yeah, Sean, because of that out in the open plant spot, will leave himself open to quickly go down to Steel and still secure the round for the Immortals. Yeah,
pretty simple stuff. They have the bomb outside T-Con. Sean, with that bomb, is also the one to throw the smoke for Ivy, and that's all just a basically big fake, so that he could run inner with the bomb, try to go for a YOLO plant. They ended up getting 2 kills with it, which is pretty nice, and their economy's in a much better place because of it. So here we have Misfits with around 7K apiece on most players. Everyone's going to be buying up all their utility and rifles, and they're going to be going up against a double op setup of Immortals. Zach actually the second man, and we were actually curious as to who was the first man to pick it up, but we did see Horvey pick up that op yesterday or the day before. It's been a blur of a week.
It was yesterday.
Like yesterday, yeah. But what's another day in the simulation, am I right?
So Horvey is going to be ready, actually, as they push aggressively up forward. This time there's a flash, and Horvey will go down. Destiny can only also get 1 kill, so that'll be a great early advantage to Misfits here, as they started off with a nice 4v3, knocking out the 2 Ivy players. They did have Steel, obviously, playing close to the back halls again, so we will be able to rotate back in the event Misfits try to push on that very quickly. Not going to be the case, though. Misfits do decide to hold back right now, lining themselves up still for a proper execute instead of rushing into something and potentially messing up on the way in.
Molly goes down at the top of Ivy. It's kind of hard to see what the value was for him to use that Molotov. I think maybe just to shy anyone away from peeking so that he could simply cross back. And you can sometimes justify using such a valuable piece of utility just in case you think you would die if you didn't. Life insurance.
Yeah,
right?
That's one way to think of it. Well, it looks like it's going to be a straightforward outside execute here, just waiting on time to get a little bit lower so they can kind of move in. And Immortals have already bitten and rotated an extra man over towards the B site. So the only one they have defending, ooh, this Steel, yeah. You're going to want to get right back down there, as it's going to be too dangerous to keep the battle going. At the very least, it is going to trap Steel in this fight, but he comes out on top of the first one, tries to peek directly into Amanek, but he'll be ready as he sits there, just slightly perched off the side. That'll eliminate him, and same for Zach, too, as he tries to rotate in quickly. Bolt's now left alone. He does still have one additional Molotov after you saw him throw out the HE grenade there, so we'll see how he decides to use that, if at all, now. He's heading towards backhalls here, so we could make a decision just to save. The Molly's going to go down, and actually might do some decent damage or two if he positioned it properly. Looks like it does miss, however, so no real extra damage done to the players from the Misfits. And with Shazam ready to take the shot back at Ivy Hall, that'll take down Bolts and finally put Misfits on the board.
So after a bit of a tussle at Ivy, it comes out that Misfits are doing pretty good. What was really important for them and what they based their execute on was the information that they had on Steel going up the ladder. So once they saw that, they know that players in T-Con can abuse this guy without exposing themselves to any other angles. So they'll push out a T-Con, wait at the train, and hope for the guy who was just in ladder to try to find a new spot to stand because his spot's been compromised. And when that happened, Steel actually played that game as well, realizing they were probably going to push out a T-Con, gets 1 kill for his efforts, which is much better than you'd expect someone in that position to get. And then they're able to take outside. So ultimately, Misfits had it won from that moment. And as all good rounds should come, that one came off the back of solid information. Now it's another buy-up from Immortals. They're not too poor.
Orby just barely escaping more damage out from that spray there. He ends up losing about 1/3 of his HP, however. So probably not still going to be too happy about that. The good news is, though, is he won't have to deal with any more pressure, at least for now, as Misfits are bailing out of Ivy, falling back over towards T-Con there.
So you can see, you know, it's happenstance which side of Ivy that he is on when he throws a smoke. But because he throws a smoke from one side, they see the bounce. Then him jumping back to the other side means that they're probably going to expect him to be there, and they can smoke one side in response. It's something you can do on the fly, but you better believe that these teams are thinking about stuff like that.
So with Misfits standing at the gates of the T-connector here, they will be getting ready for the execute, although it's going to be slowed down a bit because of Steel's aggression inside of the T-Con area right now. Not only him, but Destiny, too, is going to swing back out. He does play for a bit of an unorthodox spot to get aggressive there, so, but regardless, goes down. Steel ends up getting the double kill, but Devaduvek will also take him out, making it an even trade. And now, Sick, who's already snuck forward. Great shot from Horvey to save his own life. He takes out Sick. Bolt's also finding Devaduvek when he pushes out from E-Box, so now Amanek will try to sneak along the wall here on the right side, but he's completely overwhelmed. And Zach, spamming back through the smoke, will take him down, trading out the round in the favor of Immortals.
So we see, because Immortals did so well in these previous rounds, they have another full buy on their hands. Horvey with the op having a very important kill, and Steel, the man who was so good the other day versus, I think it was Optic. So damn good, just 2 and 3 Ks almost every single round, along with Bolts, and they are getting a very important shutdown at T-Con, when their whole prerogative at that moment was just to clear that part out, go 1 for 1 on that trade, and there it is, another opportunity. And Shazam this time doesn't have a rifle, has an op. All it takes is 1 bullet, 1 peek, and that player who's spotting on the lower ramp dies.
And Zach had to have been aware that he would have gotten knocked out by that, since he has been peeking that quite precariously for the past couple of rounds here. So it was only really a matter of time before someone from Misfits was going to be able to get him. Horvey trying to fire back from Ivy right now, but no success on it just yet.
They did it. They made a big mistake there, re-smoking it as well. That's an extra 15 seconds for the CTs. Now they don't have to use their smoke if they want to, and the terrorists can't aggress or use it as a distraction.
Just noticed the Observer joined Misfits' team for some reason.
Oh. Look at that.
Oh. Also, we
Playing
know
from Brazil.
Well, we know there's a 6th man hiding on Misfits. I don't think that's it. That's not our observers, but it's interesting. Hopefully that doesn't stay there going into the next round, but I guess we'll see. Amanek getting another kill here as he works for the entry on B. He's going to be able to take down Horvey. There was one trade back outside, but with the bomb on the ground here now, Mortals do have to look to move back in and retake. Steel has that flank, obviously, in backhauls there. He's going to be able to find Devaduvek. But Destiny, unfortunately, he doesn't have a whole lot of room to play with here. He only has an ump, too, so these long duels in the lanes are going to be rough. So kind of relying on Steel to do most of the damage, but he's finding impact here. Moves in, takes down Sick. Everything on Amanek now, and he's not even going to realize Destiny sneaks up on him there, so it's actually a really clean retake for Immortals.
Yeah, well done. They came in patiently and performed the retake. And
he's in the game now.
He is in the game, yes. He is ready to play.
Yeah. We're going to have to pause this.
Put me in the game and pass me the ball. Hopefully it doesn't mess Sean's money up.
Yeah, I think it should be fine, because I don't think it changes their player's money or anything like that.
Oh, okay. So
as long as he doesn't buy anything.
he's quite literally a 6th man. We
Yeah.
Overwatch now, boys.
yeah. So I guess someone has to message the person on that account and tell them that they've accidentally joined the team, and we should be able to fix it. Interesting scoreline for this to happen on as well, by the way.
Please leave this professional match that you are not a player of.
Yeah, really, where's the you are not a member of this match error? Or you are not a player in this match.
Yeah.
We're on ESL servers, so. But yeah, obviously a technical pause here, guys, while we look to sort that back out, and as soon as we fix that, then we will resume the match. But it's been a pretty good one so far, and there we go. He's gone now, so he should be unpaused at any moment. Immortals kind of dominating the situation right now, specifically Steel and Bolt dominating the situation there, up at 12 and 11 frags. And on the Misfits side, while they did pick up one good round, they've come close on a few others, but especially in the post plants, things have gotten a little bit rough for them, so they just haven't been able to keep it together.
Oh, a big problem just happened.
Did someone's money get messed up?
No, he dropped a Glock, so now they have an extra Glock, so they're going to have to reset this game. It's not fair.
Had me going for a second.
Yeah,
there.
were you worried?
Yeah. I had to really think on that, like, is a Glock really going to make that much of a difference? No.
Is the 7-1 scoreline with the Brazilian in the match unavoidable, yes or no?
No, it's avoidable.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen it happen.
It's always fun though, right?
Yeah.
We just need big on the other team now. Make it even better. Just to really make it.
Big, yeah.
Yeah, the German team, yeah. But all right, we should be good here. So I'm not sure if something did happen with the money, but it looks like we are going live in a second. So I think we should be all right here.
Cool. They don't have a ton to worry about, obviously, because Misfits decided to, because they were going to have to double save, go all in on that round, and it did come down to a 2v2, which they lost. Could be a big reason why they don't close this game out, because Immortals now have an easy road to 9 rounds, and Misfits are almost certainly going to save here after trying to do, yeah, they're going to go for a 5 smoke, and there really isn't a place on the inner site for 5 smokes, so you can almost be sure that they're going to set up to use these smokes for outside. The other option, obviously, as well, too, is either do a fake or to do a false exec. Which is hard to justify not thinking about doing something like that for anything to pull a free rotate.
Really slow on the opener here from Misfits. Looks like they're sitting back and trying to watch out in case Immortals try to do something aggressive here. But after a little bit of delay with no action, there's the rush plant smokes that come out on the outer site here. Unfortunately, it looks like these C2s respond actually pretty nicely with their own bit of smokes and Molotovs that go back out towards ladder in there. But you'll note this is actually going to be a fake attempt. Both the players on outside go down. Destiny's going to move forward to clear it, but Bolt's never rotated from the inner bomb site, so he's still very much ready to take this fight. It's a nice, easy double kill, both of them headshots, and Steel moves in from the backside to close out on the final player.
Yeah, so Zach almost goofs it up. The counter nades were beautiful, though. You saw how well-timed they were. Our man on the left side of Bomb Train delayed his grenade, instead switched to an incendiary just after the smokes bloomed, knowing that they're going to run for this plant out ladder. It's a very common strat to do. You see where the smokes are cascading out of the windows from, and that would delay at least 7 seconds. They could, from there, jump up, spam through the smoke, try to also molly out ladder, and all of these things worked well. Zach ends up dying. They do the readjustment, go inner, but Bolts is there and ready. So Misfits somehow... Oh, there is no double save. Misfits actually have enough money to buy right now, so I guess a bit of a miscalculation on my part. Or maybe did they already save 2 rounds? I'm not sure.
Well, they pretty much full saved last round, right? So
yeah, they full saved last one, but they got reset around.
Yeah, I think they had a little bit of extra cash saved over for when they got reset. So
I mean, I can't argue with that. They've definitely got a buy going, and it's like pretty solid overall. They, in terms of utility.
It's all about the execute here for them. More so transitioning it into the post plan, as that seems to be where, for the most part, where Immortals has been crushing them here. But with them getting ready to go for potentially another 3-man execute on Ivy here, we'll see how many split off of any of them at all.
They keep... Is this a control smoke that they're doing? Maybe it is, yeah. Maybe it's just like a control smoke for the end of Ivy, a new way to approach it. No, maybe it's not. I don't know what they're doing. I think they're actually just smoking themselves out of Ivy consistently.
Well, regardless, it works to a certain degree. Destiny does end up pulling away from that control position, so he's going to end up back around the corner and Halls. As soon as it fades, though, he mollies it off, and yeah, he's going to be ready to spam into this one. Barely just ends up surviving the second player, but will still take him down and be able to fall back with 20 HP remaining. Zach catching the inner guys, takes both of them down, too, as it didn't really seem like there was much in the way of utility to blind him out. And now Sick. Well, he's going to try to pull off a miracle here. Unfortunately, he's only given a pixel angle to take down Destiny, and he'll just show up with his third kill now to close out the round. Okay,
so it was a control smoke, and something that people do on long on overpass, because the angle is so long from the site, it's very easy for a team, for a CT to just peek off the right side with an op, look all the way down long on overpass after you spent the last 15 seconds walking all the way up and just kill somebody. So now at Ivy, they've decided to smoke themselves out at the end just to make up all that distance by walking, and then once they do that, to either explode or continue to walk out. But I think that what makes more sense is to just get the other team to throw the smoke for you. I think the problem with that is that teams will typically throw it a lot deeper, but if you could make it so that, I guess feigning a rush or something like that might be the better strat, but I guess in their eyes it's going to be hard to, and obviously we're just watching an eco round right now, but obviously in their eyes it's probably harder for them to bait out the same smoke that they want, so to be able to consistently do it, they're just kind of smoking themselves out at the end. That might be an interesting approach, like a new approach to Ivy, because it definitely can be hard to get all the way to the top of it.
Yeah, so far though it hasn't really panned out too well for them, as they're kind of experimenting with it at the moment. Steel, walking into the backside, is going to be able to take away the life of another player. And the last two, looks like they're going to go for the inner execute. Zach has been pretty on point with defending this, especially against ecos here, so unless they already know where he's at, it's going to be rough times getting into the site. Already have one kill, and Amanek beaten out by a second player here. Bolts had also rotated in behind the pop log train there, so he's going to be able to take him out a little bit further back, actually. I think he was behind the second train. But still, Immortals well in the lead now, 10-1 over Misfits here, with quite a bit of money to work off of, too.
This is truly impressive that Immortals have such good natural chemistry between the five of them, even though it's a really ragtag bunch of guys. So I'm definitely really impressed, and it's cool to see the old heads. I guess you call them old heads now, but it's Steel and Bolts just playing so extremely well in all these matches to make up for the fact that their teammates are either coming from a lower tier of CS or straight up coaching role where you're just not practicing 8 hours a day. And really playing their part. 10-1 to Misfits on train. Didn't think I'd see it. Didn't think I'd see the day, to be honest.
Almanac will quickly go back down here as we're going to see Misfits just trying to go for a shock value outside control. Doesn't start off too well. It's a 2-for-1 now, 3-for-1 trade. Steel remaining mobile across this blue train now, doing actually a great amount of work. Oh, up until that point anyway. When he shoots at his teammate and then gets taken down by Shazam. And Shazam at the moment single-handedly tries to piece back together that round. At least brings it down to 2 for the Immortals, but Horby does end up knocking him out, securing an 11th now for the CT side.
Man, the second kill as Steel falls back, and he's been doing such a good job of this, is just knowing where that next kill is coming from, hitting that instant headshot on Devo Duvak, who's practically pre-firing him on the angle. It's absolutely brutal, and it was really funny to see him catch that terrorist, but then you saw where he realized, like, he completely forgot what a CT looked like, and let that guy go, and shot at his teammate.
Oh. A very violent end of the smoke bounce there.
Yeah.
So it just plasters itself to the ground there and quickly establishes some presence for Misfits at least. But Immortals, with how aggressive they've now shifted into playing for outside, they're not going to be tricked up by any of this. They're ready to fight out against any kind of push, or at least it would seem that case. Six going to be able to move in, gets one kill, dinked afterwards, however, and that will lead to his elimination by Bolts this time. And now they realize another fake is alive. Bolts going to rotate in, but unfortunately he's just out in the open, so he'll go down before he gets another kill. Did great damage though, and that's where Steel's going to be able to find a kill now. Zach, once again, doing a great job of controlling the bomb train. And now just Sean left alive, and after getting hit by this nade, doesn't necessarily do himself any favors. He's in a 1v3, no utility to entry out from heaven, tries to walk it, but Steel was already watching for it, so he goes down very quickly.
That was a really nice round from both Steel and Zach, obviously. Zach coming through, or Steel coming through at the end just to show you that he can do it on both sides, but a good hold from Dennis. And I just picture, he's such a happy-go-lucky guy. I just picture him wearing some clout glasses and saying, "Let's get it, my dudes."
Well, Misfits will finally take a tactical pause here. Might be a little late for that in the half, but at least trying to take some time to figure out exactly what's going wrong in all these situations, as every execute they go for just seems to be failing now, not even really making it to the post plan for the most part anymore.
I wonder if it's a little bit of underestimating Immortals, and maybe a lot of impossible, like having trouble finding a way to prepare for a team that they don't know how they're going to play.
Yeah.
the weird part is that it's CT side, so a lot of the stuff that they want to get away with is, you can tell by the way that they're playing their G side that they're just trying to get Immortals to play their game. Like the top Ivy control smoke just means you're denying the CTs from doing anything crazy. Like you're just like, I'm going to throw this control smoke and then I'm going to get my way up Ivy and then we're going to go from there. You can know I'm going to do it, but I'm still going to try to get away with it. But even with that stuff, they're having very little success, and it's quite surprising.
Problem seems to be, though, is that Immortals going to read into what the situation is way too early in the round a lot of the times. Like, we see attempts at fakes and whatnot, but the player that's trying to fake the outside site just never makes an impact, really, and goes down too soon. We're going to see an example of this again as they just try to completely rush outside, and Immortals, well, they've constantly been ready to defend against this, so it's going to be no surprise that they do that for the most part. Once again, at the beginning of this round, it's brought down to Sick after the initial trades go out, and he's left 1v3. I actually don't think they're really aware of where he's at right now. They know the general idea, but he has managed to sneak all the way up to this smoke without being noticed. And now Zach peeks a little bit more forward. He would be able to take him out for free. It's after that, though, that he ends up in trouble, as they still think he's hiding out behind E-Box or something. So he's actually got a lot of room to play with. If he had the bomb right now, this would have been great, as he could have tried to sneak through into Z and maybe even head to the other site, but he'll get taken down by bolts and will not get one of those 3 kills.
I think it's time to check on the money for both teams and also where the kills have fallen. Just to kind of curious about Misfits side. Wow, yeah, no players over 10 kills. Sick just got a 2K on that round, which is a rifle, which is really important, but no rounds to show for it. Basically, everyone on Immortal is either positive or doing extremely well, and looking forward to a 14-1 half. It's crazy to watch this, man. And they're making it look so simple too.
Yeah, it seemed to be. Go ahead.
I was gonna say we saw SK. I don't want to use the word slumping. Not playing as well as they're, at the level that you'd expect of them. And I think one of the problems when they lost to Heroic on Train was they were quite simply not getting trades. And here we're seeing like the easiest 2 and 3Ks for Immortals, where players aren't flashed and then they go and take 2 different duels. They win them straight up, no problem. We've seen this from Zach. We've seen this from Destiny. We've seen this from Bolts. We've seen this from Steel, all multiple times in this half.
The rotates as well, and just the map control in general for Immortals has been amazing. I mean, look at this. Destiny walking all the way out, just walks right up to box cells. Nobody even has a clue that he's there. He will get traded afterwards, but still the fact that he's allowed to go that far without them having a hint that he does that, and this is not the first time this has happened in the half, is astounding to say the least here, especially for such a new team that they're able to constantly allow this to happen. A lot of really great individual plays, but not only that, but great reads, great flanks coming out, where it rotates too. Sick is going to get this kill outside. That will open up an opportunity for them to score there, or at least get the plant down. However, I don't think they have control of the bomb anymore. Yep, the CTs will be contesting this pickup as they realize it's sitting behind here. So they peek into Sick, try to take him down, and they'll succeed in that task. So with the elimination of Sick, Devadivek now has to go back in there and hunt. And once again, he's left without any utility. And not even really the greatest gun to try and clutch the situation. It's just a 1v2 right here. And they're both just standing right out in the halls, ready to take that fight. So Immortals showing us some great stuff despite the random reshuffle we had to see them do, obviously due to recent events. They hold it together strong here, at least against the Misfits, and hold a 14-1 lead. Stick with us to see if they can improve on that in the second half.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, the City of Odense, GeForce GTX, Lenovo Legion, Bedway, Pay Safeguard, Logitech G, Mountain Dew League, Xfinity, and ESEA.
And we are back, folks. This new Immortal squad showing up to impress today with a 14-1 half on Train over the Misfits. really dominating it, would seem here. And I believe we can take a look at the stats to justify that.
Yeah, absolutely crushing them. And just as we talked about earlier, the old heads, Bolts and Steel, both I think pulling over 20 kills apiece. I think actually Bolts at 100. This is why ADR is so much more important. 145 ADR is so much higher than 120. That is unreal.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, just 120 kills with 120 ADR with 24 kills for his teammate there. Regardless, very impressive for both of those players, as it seems like the two of them just alone were able to do massive amounts of work to carry them through that half. But we also saw good stuff from the other players too. I think the most notable one besides that would be Zach as well, who's really been showing up on that inner bomb site.
You need like 4 different stats, and obviously we're moving right into the pistol, so I'll stop my rant before it starts as Sick pushes through the smoke.
He's got himself over here towards Olaf, actually. He's going to fire up, but didn't realize Horvey had already gotten himself up to the corner so quickly. So we'll take him down. Shazam, usually great on these pistols, so they're going to be able to find 1 kill this time. And Sean adds a second. It's a short story. Oh, maybe not, as he does move in here for another pickup, and that's his LO player. So all of a sudden, it's a 2v1. Zach finding the trade kill into Devo Duvek, however, equalizes it once again and brings us down in just a straight-up brawl, a 1v1. For control over the early portion of the half here for Misfits. It's a lifeline.
Oh, he's
they need to win.
Out.
And yeah, Zach reads into the situation. He's going to go inner. Sean, as a result, will just barely miss an opportunity to take down Zach when he was crossing between trains. Now, what's this now? Zach.
Oh my God, is he going to actually clear this out? He's leaving an open site. This is kind of nuts. He's got so much time that you can do this. I'm against leaving an open site on train. It's a little different just because if going inner is really important sometimes when you know that they're in Z or they have pushed through. How is this even possible? Sean actually was looking there too.
Sean peeks it directly, realizes he's back there, has an inkling that he's back there. So with that, Immortals take the pistol, and we're on match point, folks.
Yeah, match point just like that. Whoa,
that was nice. We didn't even see that first one.
Damn, Sean.
He's been showing up the past couple weeks. He's been having a couple pretty good games.
Yeah, he has. I would say the main thing with Sean, his aim's actually not bad at all. I think it's just his keyboard movement is a little bit sloppy. It's not too precise. That's what makes him look a little bit sloppy, but even that's improved. Nice headshot. What? Didn't even see.
Where's that from?
I don't even know.
Downtown. Speedway? Yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless, goodbye to Bolts. So that's going to be a 4v5 that Immortals have to play with here now. Destiny did manage to creep up over here into the corner, but the thing is he's probably worried that he might have been spotted by Devo Duvek or someone else here, so he's going to play this a little bit more carefully, going to play passively while the rest of his teammates get into position here, and we can see them doing that now. Zach, I believe, was able to spot Sean sitting on the other side of Ivy there, so they know about that presence. Destiny, however, spamming in here, gets the trade kill into Devo Duvek on him, but Shazam finding another one. Zach knows he's up against Scout, so he does go jumping across the corner. Sick getting another kill here too, so Immortals down to just 2, and they're both at low HP as well. 12 on Zach, 29 on Horvey. Shazam tags at another one, and then Amanek with a pistol closes out from the back halls. Misfits do upset in the second round, and that will give them a lifeline to stay in this map for at least a little bit longer.
Yeah, they got melted quite quickly, and they were just kind of trying to set up at T-Con and Ivy like standard stuff, but it was a great opening 1D. Literally couldn't even see Devo Duvek on his screen when he shot that bullet, so it's just an incredible shot to kick things off. And from 5v4 it gets really hard. I think if Immortals probably look back at that round like, oh, we could have just gone and done something fast. If we look at the overview on that map, we see that Misfits were just playing a standard 2-3, but we kick this off by running right through mollies.
And right through AK spray too, it seems. 6 just gonna get a nice casual ace, I believe. Oh no, it looks like Shazam was able to steal one from him there. So only a 4K for Sick, but still nice control there. And Immortals unfortunately just ended up running right into their doom with that fast ramp push.
Yeah, they went for it fast. Sick plays his textbook right. This is why people spot like this. It just only gets a little bit more risky on the rifle rounds when we saw Zach get punished by an op or take like 55 damage to a spray from Shazam. But in that situation, that's when it makes the most sense and is a lot safer, and at least it gives you info so you can play 4-1. Now, do we have a flash? Yeah, we've got Zach with 1, but it's on the opposite side of the molly. It's Deal.
Devo, Amanek, yeah, just cleaning up shop here, as unfortunately Immortals won't even get close to getting anything done on the eco here. Devo Duvek down to 3 HP, but he gets 3 kills as well, so easily makes up for that and doesn't even end up going down there. So nice clean couple rounds for Misfits. Actually does establish a good economical situation for them going into this first gun round. However, they do need to be careful As obviously just one round loss will immediately cause the end of the game.
I know it's a little late, but we didn't see Misfits use attack pause, I don't think, in the first half.
They did very late in the half.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was going to say they definitely maybe needed it then, maybe needed it at the beginning of this half if they really wanted to think about coming back. I honestly believe, though, they could have a very good CT half because they're really testing Immortals' coordination. And on Train, it needs to be stringent.
Sick is going to start it off well anyway, taking down Steel. There's Destiny with a trade, however, as he moves back in from T-Con, able to find Amanek Devadivek. In the meantime, looking for something from Ivy, but won't be able to catch any kills early on. Bolt, however, ends up burning quite a bit from a Molotov there. Where's he positioned at? That's over towards the ladder, it seems. So he's going to end up in a little bit of a rough patch there. And yeah, it looks like he might have burned out inside of ladder, so now he's down to a third. Trying to creep back out when the smoke moves in, but that's a little too far, so Shazam is going to be able to take advantage upon that, knocking him out. And leaving only 3 alive here now for the Immortals side. You'll note, obviously, the Misfits do have this triple op setup, too, that they're trying to play into, so this will be a little bit interesting to see how this evolves later on in the round. Devadivek misses the shot and will lose quite a bit of HP from it, but Horvy's not immediately going to look for the kill on him. He goes out into the site. That's where Shazam is waiting, though. Now we'll see the kill happen, and now they realize it's a triple op setup as Sick fires off here. He's able to take down Zach. Destiny in position to trade Sick, but won't be able to do it. So Misfits take it again. A very clean fashion. They lose Amanek.
I'm surprised Destiny didn't just try to go for the plan at the very least there. Obviously was assuming, I assume, that there was an extra person on the site. That's a wow, crazy shot. I wonder if there's a one-way on the other side of it, and that's why he dropped the smoke in the corner. Didn't need to see that pan out, however. And yeah, we're going to the triple op setup. This is what Misfits used in OT, and it really got them, I think, through to the third OT. It was on catch, however, different map, but Train also very friendly with all these long angles. And Immortals back on another save. Are Misfits prolonging the inevitable?
Yeah, well, that's yet to be seen. We'll find out here as Immortals are into another eco round. Trying to rush back out. Almost a double kill from Shazam, but Sean and Devo moving to get the 2 other kills of players moving out from T-Con. Shazam finishes off the last one outside of ladder. Zach, down the lone Ivy player, looking for at least some damage here in a 1v5, but won't even come close. Again, Misfits shut it down with all 5 alive. Money will continue to blossom for them, as now we have players going over 10K.
Yeah, looked like a good headshot, and obviously we are here sitting and looking at the rifle rounds, hoping that Misfits don't blow it on any of their anti-ecos. So now with a full buy-up for Immortals, they have to figure out a hole in the 3-op setup, and they've definitely seen each of these players get a kill at this point, so they realize that there's probably going to be one inner, one Ivy, and then the third one maybe roaming. That's Shazam here at Z watching T-Con. Spamming in the meantime as Immortals take some very basic map control. Destiny getting quite aggressive, however. Sick there, ready and waiting.
Yeah, so goodbye to Destiny. And again, Immortals start off from behind here. Probably actually going to be trying to go for some kind of an inner hit if what we're looking at the mini-map is correct right now. We got more players shifting into the B halls, so that we'll get ready to roll back here in a few moments. Misfits in the meantime already have 2 players out ready to defend it. None of them are forward, none of them are very close up, so actually if the smokes are used properly from Immortals' side, they might be able to get a pretty good amount of control on the back end there and get a nice safe plan off. It's just about pushing that forward even more so. Not overextending, as they're going to have to deal with flanks for sure.
Full execs are probably the best way to deal with this many ops, smoking them out as opposed to running out into their angles when you're default, hoping you're not holding it. And now that they have 4 players, they've actually done it. The bomb will go down. They don't have a lot of ground here, though they are trying to make up for that.
Yeah, so we can see Steel's going to kind of take charge in that regard, pushing forward now towards Z, hoping to at least cut off 1 or 2 rotators here when they push out. Sean, though, finds a first kill. Shazam gets dropped back down, and Sean gets a second kill. I said they were going to have to watch for flanks. That seems to be the one thing they've forgotten to do, as Steel will trade that kill, but now he's dead. And Horvy alone in a 1v4 with only 20 HP. Pretty much an impossible situation, and Shazam will indeed take him down, putting the 7th round on the board for Misfits.
The way I see it, they didn't give themselves enough outs in that round to win it. Once they put the bomb down in there in the 4v5, it's really going to be on Misfits to sit back, wait for any mistakes, and then push in for the retake, and obviously have plays like this where Sean Gares on a big flank, knowing that they don't have 5 players, so they might not have one watching ladder or someone that he could come around and kill. And so I think Immortals needs to either have someone ready to go on a ladder flank through Z, which can be common, or have the team push up or look for kills more aggressively before allowing the CTs to push up freely.
Immortals continue to push out into the open here. Just a straight up rush this time, it seems, towards Outer. And once again, it's Misfits shutting it down. Destiny getting a little bit of work done as he gets himself all the way up there to the mid site. But now leaves Zach alone. However, Zach might be able to do this in a 1v2. It's behind coverage, and that's going to stop Sick from connecting onto the shot. But this time just comes rolling out with a CZ and instantly headshots him.
That was a bit risky from Sick, but I mean, he made it happen. So this is Sean having insane impact once again. And Misfits are looking a lot like Immortals were in the first half, getting away with everything they wanted to on their CT side. The holds are good. Everyone's showing up individually. Suddenly, we've got a player at 20 kills, even though at the end of the first half, Sick only had 8. 3 ops working out quite well. Half-buy comes out for Immortals. AK on board. 1 smoke in the hands of Steel. And pretty passive default apart from that.
Once they're ready to execute, he's probably going to do the drop inside of ladder room there to see if he can get an entry. Just through the drop here, but Sean is trading on that, so unless we do see players from T-Con executing first, it's going to be a little bit difficult for him to find that impact, especially now with the smoke in the way. But out they go, and wow, Destiny just runs over Sean there. Shazam looks for a little bit of a trade, but the shot is off the mark, so not going to do full damage. It brings him down to 40 HP. Other players hold control towards areas like Ivy and whatnot, so they know they don't really have to worry about that. I'm just going to open up suspicions about an inner hit, but with players also busting out of T-Con, there's susceptible reason to believe that it would come out on the A site too, so they're not going to be able to pull rotate just yet. They're starting to pull him towards A though, as I think they've started to figure out the idea of what's going on here. One player up on top of blue, and it's actually a surprise that Shazam misses that. Destiny just playing with him a little bit, but oh, now he hits the target into the smoke, almost sending another one here. But Almanek going to help out with this a little bit, and Shazam, even though he's low, able to dive back in there, taking down bolts. Devo holding the line on the right side here by Speedway, trying to knock out the last player. Zach actually will come out on top of that duel, but again, he's alone, so he won't survive for much longer after that.
Yeah, they've just got to be careful not to die in their defaults, and I think doing something quick might work a lot better if they use smokes and they do something a little bit faster, put a lot more pressure on these ops who have been given a lot more space to just set up, wait for picks. And Destiny there did something pretty aggressive, and I think that's just because they're on the eco, but he also did made a play like running out upper on that rifle round, because he had an opportunity, and I think they will need some kind of gimmick, it seems, to be able to at least get that 5v4, because in terms of coordination, they're clearly not totally prepared for T-side train. That's I suppose, not surprising, considering they haven't been a team for pretty much any maps at all.
Devo's still sitting back right now, but he does hold the forward position at server, so if Immortals go through, that will be quite dangerous, especially considering the track record so far for these executes on Immortals. They haven't been that great. It's really only been Destiny that's been able to find constant impact on entries, although this time Bolts will be the one coming through T-Con, and he's going to be able to find that first kill against Shazam. One up down, still 2 to eliminate though, and with the money that Misfits have, this needs to be a round win for Immortals, otherwise Misfits are just going to rebuy that in the next round anyway with the money they have. You have multiple players past 10K now, so there is no breaking the economy anymore. It does have to be the round win. Sean now trades back the kill earlier against Shazam, and Almanek already picks off one of the Ivy players. Moore trying to move back in. That was actually a pretty good flash, but Devo's still prepared to take the fight. However, he's first to be eliminated. Unfortunately, Horvey gets a little bit too close there, so Almanek catches that trade. Bolts with one more pickup, but Sick strikes right back, leaving a player to clutch again on the Immortal side of things. Destiny looking for the 1v2 as he creeps up to the site. He's hoping someone will be boosted their ticket, but not the case right now. He does have the bomb, so he can safely plant, but he has no utility to hold back these CTs, so there's nothing stopping them from pushing him. As we can see, their attempts to wallbang him through the bomb train won't be successful. It also gives away the fact that one of the ops is sitting inside and spams in, gets the first one. The second player does cross out with the op in hand, not going to be able to do it. Destiny shuts it down, finally in a 1v2 clutch situation, and that'll be Immortals finally taking control of this first map.
Damn, that's one way to do it, and sometimes an individual can take you through a map or just a round, and that's all they needed because of the great half they had to start it off. So, well played from Destiny. Overall, I think Immortals probably pretty stoked that they had such a stellar first half to begin with, and it's probably a huge reason that we're not seeing OT right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, it does look like we have our analyst test that's been patiently waiting for us for a while now for that game to close out. Gentlemen, what happened here in this first map?
Well, a 15-1 start does speak for itself, but I think more loudly than that would be sort of the patience and fundamentals that we saw come out of Immortals across the entirety of the match.
Yeah, it seemed like they were willing to make the right plays aggressively at the right times. So they were patient enough to know when to go aggressive, right? You don't just go aggressive straight out the gate. For example, there was one round when Immortals tried to go aggressive right out the gate at Ivy, and they actually got double killed, right? So it was a 5v3 in the first 20 seconds. So they kind of reeled it back and made a little bit better decisions in the half moving forward.
Yeah, I think Immortals, knowing how slow sometimes Misfits can play, in some of the rounds they really abuse that team middle. Like mid-round, they kind of sneak one of the Immortals people in the middle, just kind of peek. Hey, there's no one here.
But at the right time, not too early, right?
Not too early, just kind of like mid-round, and then they're not here. They even go in Ivy or inside, and a lot of times Immortals counter that pretty perfectly.
I mean, when we look at this Immortals lineup, though, I mean, we've kind of bet against them, so to say. Every time they've appeared, I believe. And I think that also stems from the current roster situation there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But looking at them right now, I mean, are we underrating them?
I think it's one of those things where now that we've seen them do well multiple days in a row, now we can kind of start to see a pattern, right? We needed this. We needed to be proven that, the new roster and all this stuff can actually succeed, and now we can say that. So moving forward on the predictions, we could take that into account a little more. Something to take of note is that they are really good on train, right? They played Gambit in the major on train, and they did pretty well there, and it wasn't only the ops of Henny and KNG carrying them on train. We saw Bolts and Steel going ham today, so they're the old guard of the team, and then Destiny stepped up when needed.
Well, interestingly enough, we're still playing with a coach on the Immortal side, and he's certainly holding his own. But let's just start breaking this one down. Let's start with round 7 over on the first half.
Yeah, so this is what we're talking about, pushing in T main at the right time, right? So this is a minute into the round that they have T main control. So it's pretty late in the round, and this forces Misfits to either go late Ivy, go through this smoke T main, which is a horrible choke point, right? That's super small. Or they have to exec inner, and we saw them exec inner 2 rounds before this, and it was super telegraphed, and they got owned.
Yeah, as you see right here is Teal. They didn't expect 2 people. Teal gets 2 kills and then kind of lights up Devo Duvek right there. And then Sick, who almost had, as me and James were talking about, that kill by Horvey probably saved them the round because Sick had the advantage, he had the angle, but Horvey just outshot him. Yeah,
sure, Horvey didn't have the most frags, but he also didn't die very much, right? I remember looking at the stats at the end of the first half, and I think Horvey was like 7 and 5, right? And Bolts had like 20, right? 20 frags. But the fact that Horvey didn't die a lot was really good, right? It would have been a whole different story if Horvey was 7 and 12, right? Like that would have been a way different match. Another thing that pushing up T mid kind of late round does right there is it really stresses the Ts, right? Because if they plant the bomb, the strength of the post plant on that outer site is getting away from the bomb train, right? It's like when you're tucked in and they have to clear all these annoying angles, right? So even if they did get the bomb down there with that T main push, which they didn't, it would have been hard for them.
Yeah.
Well, you talk about a T main push. Let's switch it over now to round 10, which we did see a Horvey switch up there between Horvey and Destiny.
So on CT side, I really like how Immortals kind of change it up right here. We know that Misfits are slow, and so this Molotov enabled Pesny kind of peek this angle, and then it made Horvey kind of peek more towards T middle. As you see on the minimap, I think we do have one of the Immortals pushed in ladder, and so this setup right here is very, very powerful as well. They're even slowing down the Misfits even more, so they're about to take out Ivy around 30 seconds, and it causes Misfits to kind of have this wonky walkout
like inner
Ivy.
split with the bomb going down lower. Like it's kind of weird.
With no utility either, because every time they toss them, they would counter toss.
This is like why it's weird, right? So Sean gets all he gets lauded for his like strategical prowess, right? But then you see a round like that, and I'm going to say something that you probably wouldn't foresee me to say, right? I'm not going to blame it on Sean. What I'm going to say is that sometimes the approach can get messed up by things that the CTs are doing, and at that point you have to call an audible on the fly, and that's when strats or some kind of approach in the round looks super broken, right?
Right.
So they probably didn't see that late smoke and the molly coming in that late in the round, right? So that just goes to show you saving your utility for the right time and not being scared and throwing everything in the first 20 seconds as a CT is to your benefit.
Fragmenting those plants, fragmenting those strats can certainly set up for just a blunder down the road, right? If one variable is just off, it could spell complete disaster. But A variable that was kind of unexpected. We're going to look at round 22 now, I believe it is. A triple op setup here from the CT side.
Yeah, so this is the round, I think this is like the first big gun round into the second half. And I just wanted to highlight here, Misfits playing very mature CS, right? Like they're not going for overly big peaks. They're realizing we have 5v4, we have them corralled into the bomb site, we have a flank that's still alive, we know where they all are, basically. Nobody's flanking Z because that guy stayed late to watch ladder and T mid. And Sean Garris gets 2 massive kills on the flank, which could have gone otherwise, right? This round could have gone Misfits, Immortals' way, but Misfits played it so well, they banked on their chances. They realized that if our ops are up close early round, we might lose, right?
Yeah, and I was kind of surprised by what Launders said in the cast, where usually if they have at least 2 ops, in this case they had 3 ops, you want to do a smoke execute. We didn't even see that once, even though Immortals knew that they had at least 2 ops, possibly.
Well, they had kind of a smoke execute there. It's just that the ops were so mature and staying back that they couldn't get that ground deep in the train yard, right?
Also 4 and 5, because Destiny decides to, hey, let me just peek out top or up randomly.
Yeah.
I think if they actually did a 5 person smoke execute, it'd be a lot harder
with late flashes.
With late flashes, because it's a nightmare to retake a bomb site with 3 ops.
I think something also against ops on that inner bomb site, I want to finish this point, is I think it's more important to use flashes and mollies. So what I would have done there is I would have done double flash deep, right? That gets that guy playing Z looking at upper. Right? There's a sick flash you can throw that he can't dodge, basically. He has to get off the angle 100%. And if you just chain flash that and your guys push out the lower ramp, sure, one of them might die to somebody holding another angle, but then you molly the Z hump and you get immediate back hauls control, right? Like it's so hard to deal with an op.
The good old 1-2 punch, if you will. Well, that does it for Train. We will be going into Cash next. And should we expect a similar result here?
I feel like Misfits might actually wake up this time around. They sometimes start off slow.
I think it could go either way here. We've seen Misfits be great, and we've seen Misfits be terrible on this map, and I don't know what we're going to see today, to be honest.
Well, we will be diving into that right after this break. We're going to be going into Cash, so make sure you're here with us when we come back.